me get an audio check, guys. How's the audio coming in?
And he was like, "Do you hate me?" I don't hate you, but I don't just go on with your life. Don't have any communication, negative, positive, nothing. And then I see him, I ran into his ex-president. He was like, "We just got married." I'm like, "Of course he did." We got it in so fast, like us, 2.5 months is this girl who wants to live up here. She's 4 kids. One's on is 2.5 months old.
These are chemical disbursements over the schools while the children are out playing at recess.
Yeah, he keeps messaging me. He's on the same trip. He's like, "You guys are always I was like, "The only one that lives in my trailer."
It's a notice delivered to U.S. Congress. Should be able to screenshot that Q code. Take you to Congress. Directed energy weapon, state of Oklahoma. We're going to be reading this today. As you can see, the military is poisoning our skies. This is actually atmospheric nanoscience. We're going to be talking about that today. And that will get you over to the website. Okay. All right, thanks for the heads up on that. Let me switch. See if that'll work. So you can take a picture of this Q code. It'll take you over to the site where there's military whistleblowers and the government patents on how they're using nanocharged particles in our atmosphere to play God with the weather. This is why so many of your kids have mental illnesses right now, and Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. That's where we're wanting people to notify Congress who passed Title 50. Title 50 allows the U.S. military. Blessings, brother. Good to see you. Title 50, subsection 1520A. For those in the state of Wyoming, if your children are playing outside and you see chemical disbursements in your atmosphere, you have to understand that these are already being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And Sweetwater County commissioners have signed up Sweetwater County for illegal military weather experiments. So the only way they can play God with the weather is to poison your children. So you have government patents, military whistleblowers, the admission by HHS that the military is poisoning our skies. Those poisons are falling and our children are breathing in them. So for the sake of our kids, we're out here at Sweetwater County Commissioners. Outside, of course, when I came to set up, people started rushing, grabbing their bags, and there's no one here right now from the commissioner's office, but a lot of our neighbors that are coming to pay taxes are setting up here to let them know what the U.S. military is doing. There's been a wide awake occurrence happening in Wyoming, guys. I want you to research that. You let your children know what DARPA is, because DARPA is what is they're poisoning them. DARPA has signed them up for military experiments, and the Sweetwater County commissioners have authorized the military to poison our skies, saying that we need rain. So they think dumping barium, aluminum, strontium, red fungi, molds, nanocharged particles. They believe that dumping that in our atmosphere is a good way to make it rain. Senator Laura Pearson, Representative Brady, and other Wyoming legislators are trying to put a stop to this. But at the county level, the Sweetwater County Commissioners and Sheriff Grossnickel is not complying with federal investigations. The FBI has received official complaints. Military whistleblowers have come out. And we're going to keep pushing for the sake of all the children in Sweetwater County being poisoned right now and across the U.S., you guys have the sky poisons in your skies. So we're going to read to you Elena Freeland's report. You can see for yourself. We have plenty of copies to hand out to people, and they're going to be posted up all over town. But the weaponization of weather. Our weather is now weaponized. The U.S. military has claimed for almost 30 years that we will own the weather by 2025. Guess what, guys? It's 2025. So this is research papers. So we have military whistleblowers coming out confirming that they're actually poisoning our children. And they've been testifying before Congress, but those hearings have been, well, the public's been locked out of those hearings. You're not allowed to know what the military is doing to your kids. So the ability to make plasma clouds, electrostatically charged snow, extreme winds, wildfires, and various other atmospheric events is part of the manipulation of our natural weather to create synthetic weather. The aerosols sprayed overhead, widely known as chemtrails, have been distributed for the last 25 years. And you can go to one of our researchers, Lori Kramer's site, seekstrist.com, and you can see 25 years of documented evidence of the military dispersing poisons in our skies. They have been loaded with conductive nanometals as well as genetically engineered fungi, red blood cells, nanobots, nanosensors, and nanosymbiote creations piggyback onto polymer fibers. These Frankenstein creations now permeate the soil, tree bark, and roots, aquifers, and all food growing in the open air. We are breathing and ingesting these substances, and altogether they are weakening the human immune system, fogging our brains, making us ill with endless autoimmune conditions. All the while we are conditioned by quote-unquote experts and heavily indoctrinated so that we can no longer see the difference between what is real and natural and artifice. Carbon is being blamed to cover up for the true culprit behind these weather extremes. The clandestine atmospheric nanoscience going on now in our now fully ionized atmosphere. At present, all planetary changes for the worse were filed under the climate change narrative, the new term having replaced the previous term, global warming. Now we have other things too, and we'll go through a couple of them really quick so people can see what we've been up to and our efforts on behalf of the children. Your children can't fight for themselves, so you need to fight for them. Now this was going on in Sweetwater County. And so we have these going out. Now on the bottom of these, you'll see Q codes. That is so people can sign the petition. I know we're up to 77 right now. And so we're just going to keep pushing. Even if we get to 700,000, we don't believe Congress is going to listen. But this way we can contact the people who are aware of what's going on and start mobilizing them so they can take immediate action to protect their kids. So this is going out, and we got a bunch of these flyers. They're going to be going out everywhere being posted. It says, "Dear neighbor, were you aware that Sweetwater County Sheriff and the county commissioners have you and your children signed up for unlawful military experiments? The U.S. military is being permitted to poison our skies with stratospheric aerosol injections in order to supposedly make it rain by playing God with our weather. Congress hid permission for these crimes in USC Title 50. Which authorizes these military experiments to be executed against the American population unless the people inform the Department of War and or their local governments that they do not consent. Those crisscrosses and X's you see in our skies contain chemical and biological agents, including fungi, mold, human DNA, barium, aluminum, and other toxic poisons. Do you feel under the weather? Are your children experiencing mental illnesses or other health problems? These are the consequences of the sky poisons we are all absorbing. Did you know that our water contains high levels of nanometals, fluoride, and lithium? Did you also know that the Sweetwater County Sheriff John Grossnickel and Undersheriff Joe Tomick received evidence as part of a complaint filed on September 8th after the military flew over our communities and sprayed these toxic poisons above our children who were playing outside during school recess. Guess what our sheriff said? No crime is being committed. The Sweetwater County Sheriff and the county commissioners are concealing these crimes while actively blocking investigations. Contact Sheriff Grossnickel at 307-922-5300 and ask him why he is lying. Afterwards, contact an attorney you know who will hold the corrupt county commissioners and sheriff liable for poisoning you and your children. If you say nothing, you are giving the Department of War permission to poison you and your loved ones. So say something. The U.S. military is spraying us like bugs, and our local government officials, including law enforcement, are permitting this to take place. Scan the QR code below to sign the petition to Congress stating you do not consent to being sprayed like a cockroach. Have your children sign too. Now, this flyer was made after the county sheriffs informed me last week, for those of you that know, that they are not going to investigate. They said that no crime was being committed. Even though they had pictures, video evidence, and families in Wyoming wanting this to stop, they're saying there's nothing to see here, there is no crime. So we have something else. We have a big special prize for the sheriff's office this week. And those of you who know what we've been planning, that's going to go through. I mentioned earlier. So we'll go through and get another notice. What are they spraying? These are going up too. The United States military is poisoning our skies with barium, aluminum, strontium, red blood cells, genetically engineered fungi, mold, and other chemical and biological agents that are mixed with the conductive nanometals as part of their effort to control the weather. Our children, along with every other living creature, are absorbing these poisons daily. Our people's ignorance, fed by fake news and even their daily struggle to work for survival, is dooming the next generation. Many of you who read this are fully aware that chemtrails are not contrails. Most of you have been afraid to speak out because you will be labeled a conspiracy theorist and mocked on social media. Your inaction will continue to facilitate the criminal actions being perpetrated against us. Your silence on the poisoning of our people is your consent to permit the U.S. military's deployment of chemical and biological agents against all of us, including our children. Now is the time to take a stand for our children. Militias, ministries, military whistleblowers, researchers, and other patriotic Americans are preparing a counteroffensive that will eliminate the military's ongoing treason, and this is your call to action. Your first step is to give Congress notice by signing the online petition via the Q code below. And then we're in the repetition mode for those of you who know how this works. There's another duplicate board that's being made up along with several others. We have a bunch of Q codes printed out to hand out to everyone in this town. If they don't come and tell the county commissioners they don't consent to the military poisoning our children are going to keep getting fogged. The last deployment made many children sick at school that week. And they're not reporting the illnesses because our kids and our elders are more susceptible to these poisons than most healthy adults. But we're all being poisoned and we're all getting sick. So you have to deliver non-consent. If you don't tell them that you don't consent, they will keep poisoning your children. Your skies will continue to look like that. This is the atmospheric nanoscience that explains everything. I've taken military whistleblowers in March of 2025 and we filed complaints against the Department of War. Special Agent Joshua Rich and Detective McMillan of the Joint Terrorism Task Force are still investigating, even though they know full well that these are DARPA experiments. If you don't know what DARPA is, you need to research it, because that's the reason why so many of you are getting sick now. You're feeling under the weather because they're playing God with the weather and we're choking on all these poisons. And the county commissioners have signed up every man, woman, and child for these illegal military experiments. So unless the public comes out and tells the county commissioners they don't consent, then we're going to keep seeing the crisscrosses in our skies, and we're going to keep choking on barium, aluminum, strontium, and all the other poisons. Now, this isn't science fiction. This is science fact with military whistleblowers that have spoke out and testified before Congress. But everyone's so distracted with all the other fake news media reports going out there that they are clueless to the fact that they're literally choking on poisons that's being distributed by the United States Air Force, United States Navy, United States Space Force, and the U.S. Army. All of them are a part of DARPA. So your children will continue to choke on these poisons until you stand up and tell the county commissioners you don't consent. The sheriff in this county quickly shut an investigation, and he's obviously not worried about re-election because there are more ranchers and honest workers out here that are tired of seeing their skies poisoned so the military can play God with the weather. And day by day, as the seeds get planted, action will slowly come forth. So we're continuing to pressure the county commissioners. Of course, like I said, when we came and set up, they left and shut their offices and they went home. They don't want anyone to be walking through here and to go ask them what I'm reporting on. They don't want people to know that they signed their children up to be illegal guinea pigs for the U.S. military. Every man, woman, and child is choking on these poisons. And at some point, the men are going to have to stand up and act like men and defend our children. And we can just keep looking. These chemical disbursements were taken on September 8th. They flew over our elementary schools and our middle schools. And you have to remember, we are at 6,500 feet above sea level. So because we are so much closer to the stratosphere, we are absorbing more metals and poisons. Childhood cancers in Wyoming are on a rise because the county commissioners signed us up for these illegal military experiments. And the sheriff is covering for this. Now, if you report a drug dealer pushing poisons on the streets, the sheriff's office is going to go and arrest that drug dealer. But if you report the U.S. military fogging our children while they were outside playing at recess, poisoning our skies, well, then there's a problem there. Sheriff's not going to do an investigation. They're just going to say no crime is being committed. You can get all your information. Site is updated continuously. You just take a picture of that right there. Take a screenshot on your phone. And then we want you to sign the petition. Give them your non-consent. This way we can reach out to you and help you. Wherever you are in the U.S., we will help you. There are multiple operations that we can run to target what the military is doing to our children. And we're not going to report nice, and we don't play politics. We don't support Republicans or Democrats. They're all criminals. They're all corrupt. They're all pedophiles. They all got their hands in Epstein's little cookie jar. Our entire Congress is corrupt. And we don't submit to pedophiles. It was the U.S. Congress who passed Title 50. You can look that up right now. That authorized the military to poison our children. 2 weeks ago, they opened an investigation, and the U.S. Army admitted that they fogged St. Louis. They put chemical disbursements and they fogged the projects in St. Louis, targeting the African Americans. They usually do that with these experiments. So the U.S. Army admits to doing it. It's on news, but most people aren't paying attention. They're not seeing it in their algorithm because posting kitty cats makes them feel good. Well, we're not here to make you feel good. We're here to tell you what's happening and that your children are being poisoned. We're here to make sure everyone can hear what's going on and they have an opportunity. That's all we do is provide opportunity. The right people will reach out, the right people will get involved, and we're going to continue to push. We're going to be out here at the county commissioners. We're going to be out at the sheriff's office. We're going to continue going until they stop poisoning our children. There's no reason for them to fly over our schools and fog our kids. This isn't science fiction. This is atmospheric nanoscience. If you research nanodust and the capabilities that we have through advanced technologies, you would see Not only are we controlling the weather, but they are deploying weather systems against the American people. Helene was formed in the Gulf, and it was steered up to western North Carolina because the Appalachian folks wouldn't sell their land, and the military wants the lithium underneath it. So in order to assist BlackRock and Vanguard in obtaining the land that doesn't belong to them, they sent a hurricane up there and they murdered thousands of people. Same thing down along the Guadalupe in Texas. A 28-foot surge on the river drowned and murdered all those children. You have to take action. When you see the sky poisons, then you just go and you send us the photos. You call that number. That's a hotline set up. So anytime you see the military, these pictures were taken by a teacher when the military flew over their school and fogged their kids. So, I mean, that's all the evidence you need to see, side by side. Atmospheric nanoscience, atmospheric nanoscience. This is down in North Carolina when Veterans on Patrol put weather weapon Helene poster boards up on the military's dozers. The military sent a weather weapon out to our families and murdered a bunch of people to steal land, and then they wanted to come out with equipment like they were saviors and they were going to help us recover. That's the remnants of a Lake Lure police car destroyed. That right there, that's the NEXRAD towers in Oklahoma. This one specifically at Oklahoma University. Now, there were over 100 NEXRADs utilized to manipulate that storm and steer it up into Appalachian County. It was the first time we ever had a hurricane in the mountains. Now, Wyoming sent down an 18-footer of humanitarian aid to North Carolina after the military sent that weapon up into that area. But now we have to prepare our own communities. Everyone living along a river or watershed is in extreme danger because the Sweetwater County commissioners have signed us up for illegal weather manipulation experiments. And they're not telling people that. There's also a push to eliminate property taxes. Some of the government employees in this building don't like that idea because they don't want to take a pay cut. But the county commissioners who make over $160,000 to $180,000 a year, they could take an $80,000 pay cut and let their employees keep their current salary. But there's fear mongering going on. And so anyone working for the very government that's poisoning our children is defending the very government, even when it comes to property taxes. It's crazy. They don't want property tax relief because they don't want to take a pay cut. So everyone else, all of us in Sweetwater County, we just keep paying high property taxes because the people in this building, some of them, not all of them, but people in this building, they don't want to cut back. While you have to cut back for your family, you have to buy the cheaper groceries. This corrupt government, this building I'm standing in, that is led by corrupt government officials. And they'll just flee whenever we come, which is good. They're hiding in their offices, or they know and they see me come. They hurry up, scurry, turn out the lights, and then they go home. Able to leave for the afternoon. I tried to get here a little bit earlier, but we had some work to get done. So now we're going to set up here. And we're going to just keep rereading. You need to make one of those signs that says, your children are being poisoned, prove me wrong. So we can start taking away the excuses people use. And by the way, they're saying that the flu's getting bad. I'm telling you, if you're listening to me, do not take a flu vaccine. It's just as bad as the COVID jabs that they're now admitting that was warp sped into our population, caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans. COVID killed no one, but the bioweapons that were created, patented, In 2014 and 2017, they updated the mRNA vaccines. These were military patents. The Department of War created the vaccine. Then they had the pharmaceutical companies, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Moderna. They had the pharmaceutical companies distribute the vaccines. So people would think that it was Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, but no one bothered to go read the patents that are readily available online for anyone that can think for themselves. But we talk about fogging our brains. A lot of the stuff that these poisons sprayed in our atmosphere do is they fog our brains. These are government patents. These are military whistleblowers who testified. Sweetwater County commissioners has signed our children up for illegal military experiments, and they haven't told any residents what's going on. For what purpose? Who's paying them? They make $184,000 a year. Yeah, it's $184,000. You can look that up. I mean, they make good money, the county commissioners. They're making all that money while they sign us up for illegal military experiments. The sheriff himself permits these crimes to take place. Did you know that the sheriff has more authority than the federal government? The sheriff can kick the federal government out of this county right now because it's poisoning our kids and signing us up for illegal military experiments. But he says no crimes being committed, and maybe that's because the parents haven't come out in full force. There's already been 2 complaints filed with the county sheriff's office for the military poisoning our kids in Sweetwater County, and it's going to take a lot more complaints. So we're asking anyone in this county, if you have children, to join other this week. The children themselves are going to file complaints at the sheriff's office. They're going to have to fight for themselves because Americans are too busy watching Netflix or cheering on their favorite president that they don't care. They don't care that their kids are being poisoned. County officials here are more worried about their salary than they are their children breathing clean air, drinking clean water, and eating untainted food. Everything's upside down. We also have copies of the 5-step plan that was delivered to the Sweetwater County Commissioners and the Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office. We've got a bunch more of these printed up. This cites Meyer, Kramer versus DOD, FAA, and White House. That's the federal complaints filed in Oklahoma City in March of 2025 of this year, where we filed complaints and delivered non-consent, saying we don't consent to these illegal military experiments. By law, the federal government, the Department of Justice, notified the Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump, that he had to instruct the U.S. military to stop all DARPA experiments, all USAP operations. That's the United States Antarctica Project. By law, that's what they're supposed to do. But you just saw what they did with the border czar, Tom Holman. By law, they should have pursued justice. But in 2024, he got caught up in an FBI sting and took a bag of cash for 50 grand. And the Justice Department just dropped the entire investigation for our border czars. So, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. They're all controlled by one entity, the Mossad. We've explained that. That's why they utilized Jeffrey Epstein to blackmail our politicians. Now, I'm not sure if any of the Sweetwater County commissioners were on Epstein Island, but we're going to be looking into it because for some reason, if they think it's okay for the military to poison our children, then they obviously think it's okay to do other things. So whether or not the county commissioner, one of them was at Epstein Island, we'll find out. And if we find out that's true, we'll let you know. We're also looking into our sheriff, who is covering up these crimes. Now, they're out chasing drug dealers and drug users, so you can't use recreational poisons, but they're not going to do anything if the military is poisoning your children. It's okay for the military to fly over our schools and poison our kids with chemical fogs, which you saw in those pictures, but it's not okay for a drug dealer to sell drugs in Sweetwater County. So the whole world's upside down right now, and we need enough people to stand up to turn it right side up. So it's going to take action, persistence, hold their feet to the fire. There's an election cycle coming up here. And so the campaign trail is going to have some different types of questions being asked of the candidates. One of them is, why did the commissioners sign up our children for illegal military experiments? Why are county government employees more worried about their paycheck when they're trying to eliminate property taxes than they are about the military poisoning their children? So we do have the names and salaries of the government employees. Anybody can go to Public Records, Oklahoma. You can get that information so you can see how much the people in this building make. The county commissioners making the most. They make the biggest brunch of it, you know. You got nearly over $1 million. Well, with incentives, you got over $1 million a year being paid just to the commissioners alone by the taxpayers in this county, and the commissioners are trying to block property tax exemption. They don't want everyone to stop paying property taxes because then they would have to take a pay cut. That's where they stand. And you have to remember, this is a conservative county. We thought conservatives were about small government, limited government, less taxes. They're about that until it affects their pocketbook. And then all of a sudden, that's why we tell you not to vote. Both sides of the aisle were at Epstein Island. Both sides of the aisle were blackmailed. How do you think the military has been able to poison our children all these years and get away with it? Looks like a good angle. And I do ask you guys, I encourage you, go to nexusmagazine.com and look at the recent report done by Elena Freeland. She explains what's in the chemical fogs that they're spraying over our children at school. And the reason why the county commissioner says it's a good idea is because we're supposedly in a drought. So artificial rain with toxins and poisons is better than no rain, they say. Now, that's having a devastating impact on our ecosystem. Our water tests high for fluoride, lithium, and nanometals, barium and aluminum. That's why so many people can't think clearly. That's why they can't fight back, because they are intentionally being poisoned. When you look at the new 5G towers, 5G is a weapons-grade frequency utilized by the U.S. military. Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon have embedded Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, and General Dynamics equipment on the 5G cellular towers. They manipulate you at a cellular level while you use your phone. So it's not just about your cell phone. And when people ask, why are so many of these towers going up? Well, that's so they have a complete grid. They're making an artificial Ethernet instead of a natural one that we can tune into with Tesla technology. But a natural one would be free for every man, woman, and child, one controlled by the military, the cabal, the deep state, the government. Well, that keeps you enslaved to them. So once again, it's Elena Freeland, Nexus Magazine. This explains what's in the chemicals that they're spraying in our skies. You also have Lori Kramer, researcher, Seekstress.com. She has 25 years of data. And we do seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Lives restarted at 41 seconds. It's like YouTube's playing games. Here in a minute, we're going to switch over. Just do some hard recording. I'll just repeat everything I said over and over. You guys can see what's going on. I'm going to stop this. God bless y'all. Reset. Yeah, give me a second. Let's see this network here. I'll just keep recording for right now. Let's go like this. Show you, those of you who just got here, go explanation really quick. On September 8th, the U.S. military fogged our children over the schools. Kids are outside at recess, choking on these poisons all day. This is atmospheric nanoscience. This Q code will take you to all the military patents, the military whistleblowers, all the investigations that's being done. All you have to do is screenshot that. It takes you to a landing page. This is where you sign your petition to Congress. Congress is the one who authorized these illegal military experiments. So Title 50, subsection 1520A, the military and commander-in-chief is in violation of federal laws, and Pamela Bondi is not doing anything at the Department of Justice to bring justice to all the children currently being poisoned. And you remember, they haven't arrested anybody who pushed that COVID jab on everyone. How many of you are sick with that? Your loved ones, you trusted the vaccine because Trump says it's a safe and effective vaccine. And then you took the jab, or you had to take it because you were going to lose your job. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of that in Wyoming. There's only a little bit of it, you know, but across the nation and mostly in the Democrat-controlled states, people were forced in some capacity. It's either you lose your job or you take the jab, right? And there's been no arrest. There's been no accountability for any of that, you know. People have already decided to move on, and that's what they count on, is they count on everyone having fog brain. Fog brain is because of these poisons. That's what it is. You can't think clearly because of those, and because of those. And all three points to that. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA. The Department of War got another $1.07 trillion to put more chemical poisons in our skies and build more directed energy weapons in our communities. And once again, you research atmospheric nanoscience. These are all research papers. Military whistleblowers have come out. They are poisoning our kids. And the enemy wants you to be frustrated, get tired. We're not getting tired. We're continuing to build a coalition. If we're going to do one thing, we're going to shut down Sweetwater County. We're going to make it very hard for the commissioners and the sheriff's department to do their job until they start protecting our children. They need to answer the questions. Why did they sign us up for these illegal military experiments? You have 5 county commissioners. All 5 of them authorized the military. And look at that. That's fogs. That's chemical fogs. All 5 county commissioners authorized the military to play God with the weather, and they poisoned our children on September 8th. Right there. See that? The county commissioner said the military was allowed to spray poisons in our skies. I'm going to switch over and do a hard record since we're having these technical issues. Pay attention to the SNN website and the YouTube. Go to our Telegram, t.me/Border Wars AZ. I'm going to start doing some engagements now. It's easier when I'm not filming. Find out who some lurkers are. God is good all the time.